I'm Tiny Tim. Welcome to A Christmas Carol, 1984, filming locations revisited. I'm just going to walk up that really massive hill to meet my dad, Bob Cratchit. I do it every day. He said it's good for me. So, welcome back to Third Rate Content. And today we're back on the streets of Shrewsbury. As you can see, Scrooge's mansion behind me. We're going to be covering once again A Christmas Carol filming locations, but Tiny Tim was right when he said it's Christmas Carol revisited. And by revisited, I mean we'll be showing you all new facts, all new aspects of the locations we know and love so well on this, our favourite adaptation of the Charles Dickens Christmas novella, ghost story, Christmas ghost story. And yeah, we're showing you all those, exploring locations we couldn't show you last year in depth. And like I say, having a few laughs on the way. You'll have to excuse my dry sense of humour though. Sometimes it doesn't go over too well, but I'll try. And basically we'll be having a good time. We're also celebrating 100 subscribers, which we recently achieved, and well over 1,000 views for last year's release. So buckle up. In fact, don't buckle up. Put on your green Santa suit, don your holly garland, and let's get on the stilts a la Edward Woodward and see how we get on with some of those treacherous cobbled streets here in Shrewsbury for a real Christmas adventure. So I'll see you out here. So Shrewsbury Music Hall, both the opening shot of the movie and the opening shot of our film last year was taken looking away out towards into the square from that building. It never features in the movie. Legend has it that Charles Dickens first read out aloud A Christmas Carol here. I can't find any confirmation of that. It's a nice story, but a few places claim it. But the only thing I can find is that maybe it was on the speaking tour for A Christmas Carol, but it is not confirmed. So also, if you haven't seen last year's video, A Christmas Carol filming locations, or A Christmas Carol 1984, I'll pin a link to in the comments, because this is like a companion piece to last year's video. During the Christmas festivities, we see this horse-drawn cart of holly being towed past the market hall, which you can see here. Here we get the shot of the band playing, the flute player and the fiddle player having a really good time with the Christmas festivities. Yeah, the old market hall is now a boutique cinema, ironically enough. I haven't seen them playing A Christmas Carol 1984 yet though, but I might have missed it. So between 400 and 450 Shrewsbury locals were used as extras in Christmas Carol. I mean, I don't think all 450 made it onto screen, but they were all cast and paid between 20 for the children, £50, and even reports of some getting £60, and they got free access to the food provided by the crew. It was all good. Just going up this alley at the side of Shrewsbury Music Hall to an area not used on film. You didn't see it on film, but the back of Shrewsbury Music Hall, there was an area that there were some pictures online about 10 years ago, before I was doing this channel, which I can't seem to find anywhere now. But apparently this area just down here was used for this sort of this car park here was where the cast and crew would have got food, and had a rest between shooting scenes. Unfortunately, there's no pictorial evidence of this now, so you'll just have to take my word for it, but it apparently is a fact. In 1984, the same year that this movie was made, David Warner was cast to play Freddy Krueger in the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. He couldn't do it because of conflicts in his schedule, and Robert Englund was eventually cast to play the villain. But whenever I look at this now, I do think of Freddy Krueger standing waiting for Tiny Tim to come and meet him after work. But I try not to. But it's just something I've learned since making last year's presentation. Thought I'd share it with you. Cool, this hill isn't half steep, but I'm there running up it to meet my dad Bob Cratchit. And my stick is going to be worn down by the time I get to the top. I made it, and I'm not even out of breath. I do this every day. But it's much harder in the snow and ice. I do hope my dad hasn't turned into Freddy Krueger again. So we're back. 37, nearly 38 years later at Windsor Place. Scrooge and Marley. And I dug up a picture of the actual scene being shot here. With Anthony Waters standing on the second step, as we stated, and the film crew just by him filming the scene. Something that irked me about last year's release, didn't bother me too much, but it irked me, was the fact there was an Audi parked here, which I didn't notice when I was filming. And I went on about the festive party, street party outside the window, Scrooge and Marley, which seemed to have gone. And I didn't actually show what was opposite other than the doors, which is a car park for the nurses' home, formerly nurses' home, now high-end apartments. So that's what's here, and I believe it was not a house in 1984 either. So it was Hollywood trickery. So Anthony Waters was age 5 when he was cast to play Tiny Tim in A Christmas Carol. He attended the Pressfield School here in Shrewsbury, and on his first day of filming, George C. Scott actually made him cry, because he went from being a sort of grandfatherly figure, very kind to the young lad, Anthony Waters, suddenly switched on the acting ability and said, "What are you doing begging on that corner, that very corner behind me, boy?" And it made the young lad cry. It would have probably made me cry if it happened today and George C. Scott was still alive. But that's what happened. Also, Anthony Waters also lost a front tooth during the middle of filming, and I presume one of his milk teeth. I don't think he'd been fighting with other cast members. And he had his own member of the crew who made sure it was kind of looking all right for shooting. But if you do notice, you can sort of tell there's something a bit off about Tiny Tim's teeth if you look. So there you go, third-rate research. So we're just leaving Scrooge and Marley, and this is the way Scrooge headed off in a real bad-tempered way off to the Corn Exchange, which I've just showed you is just round the corner up, well, just round the corner up there. So where he was going, somewhere else, perhaps not to buy Christmas presents though, that's for sure, at that stage. Things might change a bit later. As you can see, got an arch here, which is called Traitor's Gate. Slightly going off the Christmas Carol subject, was where the parliamentarians were let into Shrewsbury by a traitor during the English Civil War. But this is where Scrooge was heading anyway. And you can see no Christmas presents down here. So he came down here, Scrooge came down here. And to get back to town, he'd have had to walk all the way along there to the English Bridge and then turned right and back up into town. As we say, it's not real life. It's A Christmas Carol. But interestingly, just over here are the arches, the very arches where the destitute family lived, which we'll hear a bit more of later. And these arches and the English Bridge and the River Severn are featured on the Bridges of Shrewsbury video on this very channel. Third-rate content. Check them out. So before we continue to Scrooge's journey, which is just that alley, I just wanted to say, a viewer asked if there were any burger joints in Shrewsbury, and I sort of stiffly answered there weren't any, but there are. Wimpy is a very sort of British burger chain, and it's in Shrewsbury town centre, so I was wrong. So next shot, we see Scrooge walking up the steps from the alley past the small group of small children singing carols. I'm going to right a wrong here. He didn't say humbug to them, even though I said he did. He just gruffly walked past them. Oh, and I'll right another wrong while I'm here. On the wall on the right, where that new window is, around there, there was a sign, wall-written sign that I, with authority, said it was J. Keel and Son. But it actually says J. Neal and Son on reflection. But I haven't got the Blu-ray, so you'll have to forgive me on that one. But I did spot it in the end. But now, like I said, Scrooge walks the alley in reverse. So the next scene is of him. Next shot of him is as of him walking up the alley, back to where he was in the last shot. This was where the small group of small children were singing carols. The J. Neal and Son engravers sign would just be on our left right now. So after his long detour around, Scrooge appears here at the Corn Exchange. And as we'll see, Tiny Tim and Bob Cratchit just turn right when they come out the office and come exactly the same way. So David Warner and Anthony Waters headed up this way, past the nurse's home, straight to the Corn Exchange. So David Warner, a very versatile actor, able to play sympathy-gaining leads such as Bob Cratchit, but also completely capable of playing villainous lead roles as well. He could have played Scrooge, really. He would have, he could have done nearly as good a job as George C. Scott. Another Victorian icon that David Warner played just 5 years before Christmas Carol and before being cast as Freddy Krueger was that of Jack the Ripper in the sci-fi movie Time After Time, just to show his versatility. A clearer daylight shot of the arches that were behind Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim as they watched the lads having the snowball fight. Something that always bothered me, irked me, that's why I'm back here doing this, is I didn't mention the lions. They were stage dressing. There was never any lions here at the front of the Corn Exchange, also known as the Royal Shrewsbury Infirmary and the Parade Shopping Centre. So here we are on Barca Street in Shrewsbury, and what do I see? Another burger joint. Shows what I know. New information has come to light regarding the question we had about the railings in the Old Lady Chapel churchyard. A viewer kindly told us she lived in Shrewsbury in 1984 and there were no railings here. It was thought that the railings were removed for the World War II war effort. In fact, they were removed for that, like they were in all other places. Yes, it's very easy to mistake Belmont House here on Belmont to be Scrooge's mansion, but it's not. Scrooge's mansion is the first one he comes to, the first gate he comes to after these buildings, and you do see sort of structure, sort of shed that was put here temporarily by the film crew. Was never here in real life. To this first gate after the houses here on Belmont, and the real thing that gives it away, the doorbell. Ding dong. But then of course this was the door with the door knocker, became the face of Jacob Marley, played by Shakespearean actor Frank Finlay. And that is the window that Scrooge flung open on Christmas morning and called the boy who gets the turkey, played by Ian Giles, a local lad, apparently. I've never met him. But who ran off in that direction to the poulterers to get the biggest turkey that could be found. So Belle walks off in one direction to a life of marital bliss and family happiness, and Scrooge walks off the way he came, over this bridge. But the only thing is, he was going for a life of solitary money gathering. He's not going to have too many opportunities if he keeps walking in this direction, because you've got the Attingham Park Deer Park, who go hunting, or he walks for 10 miles, Coalbrookdale Foundries may be employing, but I don't think it looks like Scrooge's style. So a shot that I was going to include last year but didn't, because I was facing the wrong direction, was the shot of Belle and her family making the snowman in the courtyard. What threw me was I was looking for a doorway, and the actual archway into the courtyard at Attingham Park had been filled in with ivy and a fake door put there. But here we are, righting those wrongs. That's what A Christmas Carol 1984 filming locations revisited is all about. St Julian's Church. It was here that Mr. Fezziwig's Christmas party was filmed with young Ebenezer Scrooge. Of course, Fezziwig, played by Timothy Bateson, very well-known actor, Dickensian actor, and also known more recent, well, people today may know him for Harry Potter, the voice of Creature, the Labyrinth, the voice of the Worm, and he was also in The Italian Job playing the dentist. Mark Strickland, young Scrooge, known for roles in Doctor Who, and he became a director. And Lucy Gutteridge playing Belle, lots of TV work in the 80s and 90s, and she retired actually in the 1990s. Having a closer look at Bare Steps, and here on the right hand side, I'm pretty certain that the wall you see at the lower part is definitely not real. So they covered over the brickwork with part of the actual structure of the Cratchit house that was temporary. And as you see, we're going up to the medieval part of the wall on the staircase, which I'd say medieval or even older. Obviously they were trying to downplay the medieval look and highlight the Victorian aesthetic, hence the very uniform look of the wall that we were just talking about at the bottom, and the wall that would have been about here looking down Bare Steps, Cratchit House, on the left. And I've heard anecdotally that local tradesmen, carpenters, etc., were used to make structures such as the Cratchit House and the other shop frontages. Again, another example of disguising the very medieval looking buildings here at Bare Steps. This one was basically sort of whitewashed over, so that it really didn't detract from the Victorian aesthetic that was being established. Edward Woodward, two-time Golden Globe winner for his work in The Equalizer as the kind of detective, calm, former intelligent agent. Also very famous to me for his role in The Wicker Man as the hapless police inspector who went to investigate the island. But I mean, he did a hell of a lot of different work and variety, a bit like David Warner. He could do anything. But like I say, if you took the D's out of Edward Woodward's name, it would be Ewa Woowa. And if my name's not Ewa Woowa, I don't know what is. When Hollywood asked Shrewsbury town crier Martin Wood, would he like to be Edward Woodward's body double in A Christmas Carol, he said he would like to be Edward Woodward's body double. But joking aside, Martin Wood is the world's tallest town crier, and he still remains Shrewsbury's town crier. This is a kind of sculpture of him on Smithfield Road in Shrewsbury. He also was the body double for Michael Carter, Ghost of Christmas Yet to Be. If you took the two wards out of Edward Woodward, you would have Ed Wood, who was a film director, and apparently not a very good one, but that's not the case, and that's the last one, I promise. And yeah, under the arches, under the second one from the left, which is the middle arch, we have the destitute family existing, barely eking out a living or an existence. But unfortunately, we haven't got the budget to go over there this year. The third-rate budget just won't stretch to it. Sorry. Only joking. We're back. The budget did stretch to it, and we're back in the second tunnel, just next to the River Severn. Yeah, this was the shot I wanted to bring you last year, but for some reason I didn't get it. It was Scrooge when Edward Woodward has left him alone, or Ewa Woo has left him alone, and he's all on his own and he's feeling real sorry for himself. Why? And he actually says, "Spirit, have pity on me. Don't leave me." Nice echo. But this is where it happened. 37, nearly 38 years ago. Yeah, when I did last year's video, I didn't say anything about it, but when I was here, there was some people sort of having a fire under here. I didn't actually ask them if they lived here, but looks like someone does now, or has got a shelter here. And it was just interesting because even though I was here covering the filming locations for Christmas Carol, which was published in 1843, here we are in 2020 at the time, and things really haven't changed that much in many ways. And here we are in 2021. Evidence that some things never change. So we got the image. Scrooge is back with Ewa Woo Woo standing in front of him with the children, who it turns out he wasn't on stilts, he was stood on two children who were. Their names are Ignorance and Want. 37, nearly 38 years ago. I do hope you haven't been taking a shot every time I say that. Yeah, while we're in the darkness under the arches, I've been spending quite a bit of time with Christmas Carol, especially the 1984 rendition of it, but you know, the whole themes and concepts of it. And I think it's become such a classic since its publication, and many adaptations over the years because of the themes that are in it. And you've got a few. You've got a Christmas tale, you've got a Christmas ghost tale, you've got a ghost tale, you've got a tale of redemption, and you've got a story, a very Victorian, a themed story of many of the things that were on the minds of people in the Victorian days, which still are today, many of them. But what I've thought about while I've been covering it is, as an amateur psychologist, e.g. I read some books on psychology, and being a particular favourite psychologist of mine is Carl Gustav Jung, the Swiss psychologist, 20th century, is the theme of the Dark Night of the Soul, which really was expressed in this Charles Dickens classic quite well, I think. And it's quite interesting because Carl Jung wouldn't be born for another 30 years after the publication of Christmas Carol. So it just seems it's quite an archetypal story. All ties in. Just looking at the other direction, would have been nearer the sort of other extras. Just stood down from Ryan Pettifer playing Ben, and Catherine Hall, Meg and the kids. Their brazier would have just been about here. And then you did see other families in the background about here, which I'd say about here. Yeah, so there we go. closer look of the tree, or the trees that silhouetted behind the ghost of Christmas yet to be. And yeah, it's not ivy, it's yes, it is ivy. It's just grown up around the tree here under the second arch. So this is approximately where Michael Carter would have been standing, looking at George C. Scott, looking down on him, slightly stood on a slightly raised hill. This is where he would have summoned Scrooge to the next scene, with Scrooge saying, "Lead on, the night is waning fast. Time is precious to me." And Scrooge has really started to change his ways here. He might well be buying Christmas presents soon. Yeah, that's where we were just standing. And we're back over here now. So, Ghost of Christmas yet to be sends Scrooge to the next location, which is our most foul part of town. It really isn't. It's a very nice public house, the Nag's Head on Wellcop in Shrewsbury, which is now open, unlike last year's video. And then here we see George C. Scott walking on the top, the first floor of the structure, which is 1500s, was a part of a mansion, I believe. The stairs were temporary. They were added on for the filming. They were never there, and George C. Scott made his way down and was ordered by Michael Carter to go in there. I have no business to transact in there, but he had to go in. Ghost of Christmas yet to be pointed for him to go in there to meet Mrs. Dibbler, played by Liz Smith, and Old Joe, played by Peter Woodthorpe, both very well-known British actors. And I don't think the interior shot, I think that was done at Pinewood, because it was very small in there. I don't think you would have got the crew. And in the shot you could see a background which just isn't there. It's a bit like the TARDIS. When the immortal line was uttered, "Give us a swig, Joe!" Quite apt. St. Chad's on town walls in Shrewsbury, the site of the graveyard here, the site of Scrooge's grave. Scrooge is silhouetted against this tomb in the darkness, and the Ghost of Christmas yet to be beckons him something to look at down here with his long finger and voice like a rusty gate. Yeah, so this is the actual tomb. This is pretty much where Scrooge was standing when he was summoned. Can't really make out much on there. It's very weathered. But we're just gonna walk the way Scrooge would have, approximately. Michael Carter would have been stood just up there, slightly past the path where it turns off to Scrooge's grave, pointing, and Scrooge would have ambled his way here to the left side of the gravestone, which is now split, and I don't know how that happened. So George Campbell Scott is buried at Westwood Memorial Park in Los Angeles. He passed away at the not ancient age of 71 in 1999. So as you can see in daylight, the grave of Ebenezer Scrooge. But interesting thing about this gravestone is nobody knows it was here before the filming in 1984, 37, nearly 38 years ago. But it had already gone blank, so they said they could use this as Scrooge's gravestone, which they did. And so the actual person who was buried here, or whose this memorial stone was, is completely unknown, and it will forever be known as Scrooge's resting place. But it is a bit weird. It's like, I know I keep saying this isn't real life, this is a Christmas Carol revisited, but when you see this in front of you, it sort of starts to get a bit hazy. Back at the Crescent, 37, nearly 38 years later, and at the Holywell residence, just checking things out. As you can see, the house next door to the Holywells has the Crescent sign that's sort of embedded into the wall, just next to the first floor window to the left. It can be seen in the movie if you look. But this is the shot, obviously, once again, that Edward Woodward magnificently strode up on his stilts with George C. Scott. Scrooge turns up Christmas morning at the Holywells, and these houses can be seen, this row of this beautiful houses can be seen on the other side of the road. I don't want to be that guy, but Scrooge turns up empty-handed Christmas morning. The only thing in his hand is his cane, sadly. So we're looking down on the Three Fishes public house on Fish Street, Shrewsbury. This pub was used by the cast and crew, George C. Scott, David Warner, Edward Woodward, etc., when they weren't filming, for a little bit of relaxation time. And this story was told by an Auburn Head pop singer from Shrewsbury. And yes, it wasn't Ian Hunter from Mock the Hoople, but it was Carol Decker from yuppie pop rock group Tapau, who worked here just a couple of years before she made it big, both in the US and the UK for a short while. Tiny Tim and Scrooge walk just down this street at the end of the movie, closing shot of the movie, from right to left, and down, and the painted picture of St. Paul's was just hung at the end of the street here. Scaffolding basically comes out the same dimensions as the Cratchit house would have. 37, nearly 38 years ago, lol. There was a gala premiere in London attended by the cast, and the Queen of England even attended. But also there was a gala premiere in Shrewsbury, here at the what was the Empire Cinema, which shut about 20 years ago and became a Pizza Express. So all the extras and local dignitaries attended. Thank you for watching to the end of tonight's presentation. If you enjoyed what you saw, or you didn't and you'd like to tell me how to do it better, feel free to leave a like or comment. It really does help the channel, and I really do appreciate everybody who does it. Got plenty of stuff planned for the new year, but for the meantime, you guys have a great Christmas, happy new year, and if I don't see you soon, I'll see you 3 times as soon. Sign out. And God bless us, everyone.